What's good, everyone? Audiolithic Mac, and I'm back with a important video, and it's educational because one thing I've noticed, right, in the music community and in the black community in general is a lack of education, right? And that's why so many individuals fall victim to misinformation over the internet, right? And I was one of the individuals who fell victim to a consultation that was fraud, pretty much. It was fraud. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, right? Yeah, EASKI, he got me with the consultation, right? But despite of it all, I didn't do anything, right? Because I know the brother just doesn't know any better because there's a lack of education in this community, right? A lack of education. Even through all of the back and forth in these videos, right, regarding EASKI, the goal is for him to learn and educate himself on how to be a professional. I even talked to Ski, hit him up offline about the homophobic slurs on his videos, right? Constantly saying the N-word in front of Mr. Hilby, right? The body shaming, the mocking of individuals who have jobs. Stuff like that can actually get your channel deleted. And I gave him the heads up despite all of it. Because I'm not the one I don't go around name calling and trolling and all that crap like that. I believe in education. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, hey man, it'll behoove of you just to remove those videos and don't say it anymore. And as you notice, he hasn't been making those statements. It has been clarifying himself, right? Which is a good start. It's a good start. Because I know, come on, we're just going to be honest. If you're on social media, you're charging for memberships, you're trying to sell this and that, right? You're pressuring people for super chats, and you're trying to sell a fake phony consultation. That tells me you need this space for a living. It's common sense, people. He wouldn't be on here if he was already good. Because as do most people nowadays. They are on social media under the assumption that they can become financially secure. But I'm going to tell you that is a false assumption. Social media is no different than winning a lottery ticket. And as you know, many lottery winners over time end up broke, right back where they started. And it's all based upon a lack of education and due diligence, right? That's what it's all about. And unfortunately, in the black community, especially when it comes to a certain demographic in the community, education is not promoted well or accepted in the community. And that's why you see a lot of individuals fall victim to financial upheavals, and even the legal system when regards to arrest, right? I mean, it's a sad situation here, but it's all based on a lack of education and constantly falling for misinformation from individuals who have no credentials at all. I'm talking about professional credentials. Professional degrees, professional certifications. Those are the individuals who you should be listening to. Those are the individuals who can act as an agent on your behalf, which is known as a fiduciary, right? But people don't do that. People in these low income situations usually fall for the grifters and the misinformation they spread over the internet, right? And that stuff has to stop. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to stop, because many of these social media companies right now are involved in serious litigation regarding this type of behavior on their platforms. And from what I've gathered from insiders in social media is that a lot of this grifting and misinformation is going to come to an end. And the social media companies, not people like me, right? The social media companies are the ones who are going to start reporting you to law enforcement. That's what's going to end up happening. I'll tell you the cat's out the bag now. I'm going to tell you the secret. What's going to end up happening? The social media companies themselves are going to report you to law enforcement for fraud, all the pretending and cons and scams, even the money scams. You know, individuals going around, they'll steal money from people, then go around bragging about it on social media. All the numerous grifters you see promoting quick get rich schemes and stuff like that. In the future, it's coming. They're preparing right now. The social media companies themselves are going to report you to law enforcement. So I'm just giving you the heads up right now. What's about to go down beginning next year. So, but I'm going to educate you, right? I'm going to educate everyone regarding the law and how to behave on these platforms. Now, this is consultation fraud. If you have fallen victim to this type of fraud, take the following steps immediately. Report to the FTC. File a complaint online with the Federal Trade Commission. Contact the CFPB. Report financial related scams to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Notify law enforcement. File a report with local law enforcement or the FBI, especially if you are facing significant financial loss. This is getting serious, people. This is not play. I know we have fun on social media going back and forth and the individuals trolling on each other's accounts. But I'm telling you, right, in the future, a lot of this is going to end because it's ridiculous, it's senseless, and there's no need for it. If you need money that bad, there's always jobs, right? Always furthering your education, always investing in something, right? Legitimate investments. But spreading misinformation and perpetuating schemes to lure naive individuals, right, for your own financial benefit is the wrong answer, people. It's the wrong answer. Some education regarding pretendians, right? The false narrative that black people were here before 1492 and black people are the real Indians is a false narrative. There were no black people here, or Niger Cordofanian or Afro-Asiatic people here before 1492. There is no haplogroup ever discovered. There is no language ever discovered. There have been no remains ever discovered. No DNA, no language, no anthropological evidence to suggest African Americans / black people living today descend from a pre-Columbian black person, despite race being a social construct invented in the 17th century. So, I mean, you have to acknowledge these facts. But the sad part is you get all your information from people who have no educational credentials at all. None whatsoever. Just average, everyday people on social media spreading misinformation in hopes to go viral. But some of that misinformation that you're spreading could be liable as a crime, could make you liable as committing a crime. Now, let me go over some of these laws that protect Native Americans, because Native Americans are a protected group in this country, right? You have the Fake Art and Craft Work, right? The Indian Arts and Crafts Act, right? If you suspect someone is violating the Indian arts or selling items as made by Native Americans, submit a violation report on the U.S. Department of the Interior Indian Arts and Crafts Board portal. For tribal identity fraud, which many of these pretendians are engaging in, if you know individuals who are falsely claiming indigenous identity or tribal membership for employment, grants, or contract fraud, report the issue to the Office of the Inspector General of the relevant federal funding agency, right? For business and consumer scams, if you encounter a business or individual operating a general scam targeting indigenous communities, file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. And that's what many of these pretendians are doing. You're trying to spread misinformation about Native Americans for personal and financial gain. That's fraud. Knowing you're not related to any Native American tribe, you have no blood quantum, no one on the DOS rolls. Let me educate you on the DOS rolls. The only individuals who are on the DOS rolls primarily are individuals who are currently or at that time living on a reservation. Do you understand? So your grandma living in South Carolina or your grandma living in Selma, Alabama, right? I'm just using Selma as an example. They're not on a reservation. So they will not be on any DOS roll because they are not Native American. Do you understand? Mulatto is not Native American. Mulatto is a mixture of African, European, and some Native American, if applicable. Mulatto does not mean Native American. Now, granted, Native Americans are people of color because they are non-white. Because a person is non-white doesn't mean they are Native American either. You have to meet specific criteria, which is your own ancestry, your own blood, along with legal documentation to prove you are a Native American. Do you understand? So go around social media spreading false information and false claims, claiming you're Blackfoot, is actually a crime. Do you understand? It's a crime if you're using it to promote yourself for profit. That's a crime. Now, for financial and tax schemes, if you are aware of individuals misusing federal treaty provisions or misrepresenting tribal status to attempt improper tax relief, submit your information to the IRS. So a lot of these pretendians don't know they can get hit in so many different ways from spreading this false information, right? They don't know. They just following along, riding the bandwagon of cognitive bias, right? Thinking, oh, if I claim I'm Indian, I can get some money too from social media. No, that's not how it works. You're committing fraud, right? And now what's happening now, it has reached tribal leaders. And they're not wasting. They're not going to be nice like people like me or try to inform people. They're like, you know what? We just find these people, find them, find their pages. And what we're going to do, we're going to file complaints with all legal parameters, which means cease and desist, and which also means arrest, which has been occurring. People have been arrested for indigenous fraud right now, pretendians right now. And some of them have come out And even they said, hey, they got me. We're not Indian, dude. Don't do it. So, I mean, I recommend don't do it. You know you're not Indian. You know there were no black people here, right? There's no proof of that. There is no anthropological proof from any peer-reviewed study that shows black people were here before 1492. You have DNA tests to take to see if you have a certain particular ancestry. But the crazy part about pretendians, they assume DNA tests are fake. So that's part of this scam, because they are in fear of knowing the truth, which is really common knowledge. Do you understand? So anything that can defy their false belief, they will be adamantly against. Now, I'm going to show you this, because a lot of black people in our community love to claim that their grandma was Blackfoot. That's a lie. The Blackfeet Nation is from Montana and Canada. So how in the world Feet Nation are from Montana and Canada? So how in the world so many black people, right, from the South or from the East Coast are claiming their grandma was Blackfoot? And it's always the grandma. It's never the granddaddy. Always the grandma, right? That's fraud, people, because the Blackfeet Nation is a federally recognized tribe. And there are individuals right now trying to promote themselves for profit, claiming they are Blackfoot. That's fraud, people. Now I'm going to educate you on the Blackfeet Nation. The Blackfeet Nation is a federally recognized tribe of Nisitapi people with a 1.5 million acre reservation. These people have been on this land for thousands of years. Thousands. So if your grandma was Blackfoot, she would not be black. Do you understand? She would not be a black woman. Do you understand? These people have been in Montana and in Canada, that part of southern Canada, for thousands of years. These people can trace their ancestry back to the very bones that have been discovered on those grounds that date back thousands of years. And their DNA, those bones, the DNA from those bones, ancient bones, match the current Blackfoot Nation population today. That's why we know they descend from those ancient people. Do you understand? So stop making that false claim that your grandma was Blackfoot. She was not Blackfoot. Your grandma was most likely mixed with European, like most African Americans are. Most African Americans, I would say all African Americans, have at least one European ancestry or one ancestor due to slavery, and others due to intermarriage, interracial marriage, or interracial relationships. These are the facts. So this is my last video regarding this issue when it comes to these grifters over the internet on YouTube, right? Now on TikTok, I call them out all the time. I'm going to keep calling them out on TikTok. But for YouTube, I'm not going to stress over this information or over this reality anymore. I have given you the information that you need to be able to make better decisions. And regarding consultations, I recommend, if you want to be a consultant, get the proper paperwork that shows that you're a professional, and then create a template where you design a real consultation to help people become successful, right? Not fluff or have the individual spend money to promote your gear or your stuff. That's not a consultation. That's actually fraud, according to the FTC. You are supposed to act as an agent to that individual, right? So they can make better decisions when it comes to that particular endeavor, right? And then there's follow-ups, right? You give them pertinent information, right? And then you also give them a plan of action for success. So they will be successful after the consultation. Do you understand? Not fluff, not promoting products. Success, them being successful and earning money. Do you understand? That's how it works for a consultation. Now, that's all that I have for now. Educate yourself from reliable academic sources and stop relying on these grifters spreading misinformation on these social media platforms to throw you off for their own personal and financial benefit. Right? This is Audiolithic Mac, and I'll be back with another video. Educate yourself from reliable, peer-reviewed academic sources and not individuals who don't have the paperwork credentials. I'm talking about certifying you. Paperwork credentials. Do you understand? That's the key. Paperwork, certifications, professional degrees, right? Those are the individuals who you need to seek information from when it comes to these particular endeavors. Not just random fly-by-night people who just pop up on the internet with a whole lot of fluff. And then when you do the investigation, you find out they're just a fraud. No degrees, no certification, didn't make any beats. Somebody else made the beats, for instance. Do you understand? So be careful, take care, and be blessed. Peace.